get ready because what you're about to hear will stay with you. Today, we're uncovering a truly shocking story from South Korea, one that feels like it's been pulled straight out of a dystopian nightmare. Imagine being plucked off the street, taken away without warning, and thrown into a hidden world governed by its own cruel rules. This isn't fiction, it's the horrifying reality of the Brothers Home, also known as the Brothers Welfare Center. The Brothers Home operated in South Korea between 1960 and 1987. Officially, it was presented as a government-funded welfare center, a place offering shelter and rehabilitation to the homeless, orphans, and anyone deemed unfit for society. But behind its walls, the truth was far more sinister. A nightmare of abuse, exploitation, and dehumanization that continued for decades, hidden in plain sight. The socio-political climate of South Korea at the time played a major role in allowing this to happen. Under military dictatorships, the government was obsessed with presenting a modern, prosperous image to the world, especially with the 1988 Olympics on the horizon. To achieve this, authorities sought to beautify the streets by removing anyone who didn't fit their idealized image. Police officers were even incentivized to round people up with promotions and bonuses, creating a system ripe for exploitation. Children as young as 7 were among those taken, often snatched off the streets without explanation, leaving families devastated and searching for answers. Once inside, detainees were stripped of their identities. Forced haircuts, uniforms, and confiscated belongings were just the beginning. The conditions were appalling: overcrowded, filthy spaces with barely enough food to survive. The abuse wasn't random, it was systematic and often disguised as games. Victims were subjected to torture, like being forced to hang upside down from bunk beds or enduring beatings while guards shouted commands. These were not isolated acts of cruelty, but calculated methods to maintain control and crush the spirits of those imprisoned. Tragically, many didn't survive. It's estimated that up to 4,000 individuals were imprisoned at the Brothers Home, with countless unreported deaths, sexual assaults, and even forced abortions. The institution profited from this suffering, with its leader, Mr. Park, receiving government funding for every detainee while exploiting forced labor to amass a personal fortune. To add another layer of cruelty, he used religion as a tool of manipulation, presenting himself as a pious man while forcing victims to sing hymns and attend church services amid unimaginable abuse. The horrors of the Brothers Home might have remained hidden forever if not for a chance discovery in 1986. A prosecutor stumbled upon evidence of abuse while on a hunting trip and uncovered a horrifying reality: guards beating workers, people chained up, and a pervasive atmosphere of fear. This investigation exposed the truth, but justice was fleeting. Despite overwhelming evidence, Mr. Park served only a short prison sentence and lived the rest of his life in wealth and privilege. The survivors, however, continued to suffer from the trauma of their experiences, and their fight for recognition and justice persisted for decades. In 2022, a government commission formally acknowledged the atrocities of the Brothers Home and issued an apology. But for many survivors, this was far from enough. The compensation was minimal, and there was a lingering sense that the government wanted to sweep this dark chapter under the rug. The story forces us to confront uncomfortable truths, not just about South Korea's past, but about the systems of power and exploitation that persist in societies today. Even though the Brothers Home is a relic of the past, the dynamics that allowed it to flourish remain relevant. It's a reminder to question the systems around us and to challenge injustice wherever it exists, whether it's the exploitation of vulnerable communities, the mistreatment of workers, or the abuse of power by those in authority. These stories demand our attention. Thank you for listening to this important story. It's a call to action, urging all of us to remain vigilant, to challenge the structures that perpetuate inequality, and to support those who have been silenced. Let's commit to learning from the past and working toward a future where such atrocities can never happen again.